There's a problem with taking the empirical model that has the duality problem between mind and body and reasoning from that to a point where you say there is or isn't God. The most rational position you would have to take from an empirical standpoint is to be agnostic. And to begin to understand that, you kind of have to understand some basic epistemology and the mind-body problem, which is really no longer discussed anymore, and it gets us into all kinds of trouble. But it was a central part of epistemology when people actually used to study real philosophy. And this was a quick way I was taught it. I think we all know that this is kind of how we view the world, and we're told that it's this way, but of course we could be completely wrong. To be empirical, you're looking through your five senses and you're reasoning from that. You're coming up with different theories. Maybe it's a theory of evolution, it's a theory of gravity, or what, anything, relativity. Now, if you get into like what's considered more analytical stuff like mathematics and stuff, there's some questions there as to how that relates. But let's just stick with the empirical mind-body problem, because most people would say that what they consider to be real is what they perceive in the world. Well, the problem is, how do you know that you're looking at the world? You're assuming you have a brain and you have eyes, and that you have this organ called the brain that produces what's called the conscious mind. So here's the conscious mind. We always show it like in cartoons as a little bubble that just pops up. But that little bubble that pops up is really all you have. You've actually reasoned from that little bubble back out to the idea that you have this body and that there's external objects beyond it. I mean, I think by watching The Matrix, we can all agree you could be fooled. I mean, you could simply be a brain in a vat and be getting fed all types of information from that and have no idea. You could be a simulated computer program that thinks it's conscious. I mean, there's endless possibilities to this, because you never really know if what you're seeing is reality. Now, look, I don't even know that you could necessarily get to what is reality. It would almost be a godlike existence. And that's kind of the point. It's just by our very nature, we're kind of limited in understanding the fundamental things of life. This is why I'm skeptical of almost everything. And by the same token, I'm open to everything. So why atheism is a problem and agnosticism would be the way to go? Well, you already have a flawed system of empiricism from which you're concluding there is no God. But all you have is this little bubble right here that's being supposedly created by your mind. God might exist. Does he exist out here in the external world, where supposedly this box exists, that we might be interpreting as something that's not really quite like a box? Or maybe this is just a blob of some sort. Or maybe a blob is a box. Who knows what it is? Who knows if this connection is right between the two? As long as these connections remain consistent, you can get around and say this is reality. But you still can't really prove that you have a mind and there's an external world, because there's really no way to get to the external world unless you say I have a mind, this thing that is being, this image that is being created, this video, this experience that is being created is what I really am. But I'm reasoning to an external world out here like it really exists. I know what this external world really is from this little bubble I've created. Well, you don't. You don't. You might be fairly right, who knows, but you certainly can't be certain. And because you can't be certain, you certainly can't be certain that there's no God. There could be a God. There could be God out here. God could be what created this whole situation. Or maybe not. That's why you're agnostic. You just don't know one way or the other. And that's the rational position. But to say you're for sure there is no God because you've reasoned that you didn't see him in the empirical world, it doesn't make any rational sense. And that's the problem I have with a lot of atheists. Anyway, thanks for listening.